Bonjour, welcome, willkommen. Let me invite you to a little game of chance after pissing off a fair number of people with what I just said, I imagine. Today is going to be Mission 3 Red Flag playing as Cybran and Condition 9, which you might notice is new. So I added a few more things to the list. Some very obvious ones that in hindsight should have been there from the start, and some more obscure ones. So obscure in fact that I forgot what this one even is. Genius. Anyway, let's get into it. Stationary engineer simply means engineer get built, engineer drive to default waypoint, mostly, and that's where engineer will remain. Anything I order them to do, they will have to do from that spot. Only time they are allowed to move is when they're in the way, and that'll be the game moving them, not me. Getting buried alive is not great after all. And no, that at least I won't exploit. And should they still move by accident, I will try and put them back in the same spot, within reason. You can't straight up forbid movement, it seems. I checked, not a thing. Unless I take them to certain urban neighborhoods. Those wheels would be gone faster than most of my past bases. Oh, and the rule also applies to the ACU. Only exception is the teleporter should I so choose to build one. So, like you normally would, first land factory, first engineer. And that's where the normalcy ends. Another factory, another engineer, deconstructing some factory or other, and so on and so forth. This is extremely slow and wasteful, who'd have thunk? Let me be honest here for a second, I have no clue why I thought this was a good idea, but here we are. Now, there's one big challenge, well, inconvenience in this, and that is to build towards the north. New units are always to the south, so either remove and rebuild or Age of Sail. Yay. And the ruins all over the place, not very helpful. Top left corner needed quite some work, and the more wreckage that accumulates over time, the worse it'll get. But once I reached all the mass deposits, this started to look like a somewhat normal base, if you can ignore the unusually high number of factories. Of those, I want you to pay close attention to this one. This is where most enemy attacks come in, and rebuilding would take a bit. Why not a second factory next to it then? Shut up. Especially problematic since getting T2 air defense quickly is A, absolutely necessary, and B, an absolute chore since it involves a ton of factory upgrades and that takes time. Same for shields, which luckily are rather cheap initially, go Cybrans. Now, it got very close a few times. Well, one lucky engineer made it, so all's fine. Though it's a situation made worse by this, let's call it a slight power crisis throughout the first 40 minutes, so the shields were riding on this delicate balance here. Not to mention that they start out with the approximate strength of a soap bubble. But past that point, smooth sailing, mostly. Since it wasn't my first rodeo, I was even somewhat ready for the approaching battleship, which only in vanilla will ignore all personal space like this. Forged Alliance forever? Not so much. Oh, and at that point I obviously went for the teleporter as well. Oh. Oops. Can't have my commander stay in the middle of this minefield after all. And the course going forward was also clear. Overkill, just like always. Just that this time I couldn't quite get all the engineers in one spot and instead had each of the now tech-free engineers build their very own Soul Ripper. A reasonable 6 for my first attack up north, then a modest 15 for taking on those bombers and to resolve my dispute with that one talkative lizard, and finally, wait a second, please hold. What's that? Reinforcements? Don't mind if I do. And finally, a most humble 30 Soul Rippers to do that. Huh, I won, how surprising. Wait, where's Big Boom Boom? That one is quite underwhelming. Anyway, and that's another mission complete. Have a good one, bye!